everybody, it's hashtag the Hammer, Glenn Schofield from Sledgehammer Games, here to talk to you about the preview for our first DLC called The Resistance, so we can hop on the Star Wars hype train for those nerds that will go out to a movie instead of a club like me on a Thursday night. This DLC pack contains 3 new, actually it's only 2 multiplayer maps and 1 new war map, along with a map that was remade barely 6 months ago for Infinite Warfare, but we figured most of you morons won't notice since nobody played that game anyways, and a brand new zombies experience that's scarier than anything we've done before, which gives us our biggest, most exciting DLC ever, and that's Michelle's words, not mine.
It's the biggest, most exciting DLC we've ever offered.
Well, really, it's just marketing speak. Anyways, let's talk first about the maps that you'll take anywhere from 0 to 30 seconds to spawn into, because we still haven't fixed that issue yet. Here we are talking about multiplayer maps that were data mined when the game was first launched, because we had to cut content from the base game to lock off behind a paywall, since Activision is spelled with a $sign. We get to see some glimpses of the Resistance remake, not the name of the DLC, but the map from Modern Warfare 3, now called Occupation, which basically looks like a World War II version of the MW3 map, because this is the type of low effort that you'd expect from us here at Sledgehammer Games. It's too bad there's no ground war in this game to have those spawn-trapping V2 rocket gameplays from the original version of this map that littered the YouTube landscape 7 years ago. Next is Anthropoid, which is basically indistinguishable from the previous map in terms of texture visuals, except for horizontal red, white, and blue flags instead of vertical, because it takes place in Prague instead of Paris. There's a bridge down the middle with different height layers, almost as if we looked at Frost from Black Ops 2 and said, yeah, let's just rip this in its entirety, but change the weather outside. Since there's only 3 actual multiplayer maps, the last one is Valkyrie, which looks like Argonne Forest from Battlefield 1 with bunkers in the woods, and the CQC clusterfucks that you expect from all of the base maps in the game. There's a new war map, which is the only redeeming mode in our game, called Operation Intercept, which reminds me of my glory days playing football, and takes place in 3 stages by first freeing freedom fighters, aka the enemy's terrorists, then destroying equipment like in Operation Neptune, and stopping a train because tanks are so 2017. If you took the aesthetic of all of the multiplayer maps and had them fuck in a giant orgy, like what happened at my place last night, you'd get this war map. Then is the zombies experience called The Darkest Shore, which takes place on an island north of Germany. Apparently, even though it's one of the things that people hated most about Transit, we decided that fog was going to be the focal point in the new map, and that apparently it's never been done before.
We really wanted to play with something new in this map. We wanted to play with this idea of what happens when fog rolls in.
I mean, come on, really, what's better than having zombies appear out of nowhere on your screen? There's a new ripsaw weapon, which is just a saw attached to a Lewis gun, but it's so heavy that only someone with guns like me can hold it up. There's also a new creepy type of zombie that is actually a crawler, unlike the slang term that all of you zombies players use, so have fun sorting that out when doing callouts to your friends. Even though more than 75% of this preview is shit that's already been in campaign or just interviews with developers, we're trying really hard to sell this DLC pack, which is available January 30th, first on the PS4, because that's who paid Activision more money. Never mind the fact that all of the maps look so similar that it was really confusing for Schwantz to cut up this video to fit the right maps in the right sections when I was talking about them. Hopefully when we release the DLC this time, we'll think about the featured game modes a bit more, now that Gun Game is just basically filled with AFK players, farming matches completed in order to get the contracts done for the DLC, cut weapons. Both Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3 have had meaningful patches recently for their games, and finally separating Frontline from Kill Confirmed, among other shuffling around modes in the playlist, even though this should have been done during the life cycle of the game, and by making the weapons that are only locked in RNG boxes, like like the HG40, FFAR, Galil, MX Garand, and R70 Ajax more appealing by giving them buffs, and finally nerfing the XMC but not the Brecci for whatever reason, yet here we are, only rolling out updates that fix the Xbox disconnectivity that we introduced with our last patch, because you know, one step forward, two step backwards, and make it so that you can play with only one other friend in ranked play. Thanks guys at the other studios for making us look like dicks. I guess we'll have to spend less time at the gym and more time behind a monitor.